Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm gonna share some of my best tips on how to be creative in Planet Zoo. And whether you're a beginner who just needs some help getting your creativity going, or if you're an experienced player that for some reason find yourself stuck in a creative block, I think you'll find some useful tips in this video. So my first tip here is to find a source of inspiration. And the first thing I'm gonna say is I would suggest you drop Pinterest. I know a lot of people will tell you to use Pinterest and Google Images to find inspiration, but I honestly don't think this is the best idea. I see a lot of people end up with builds that are quite similar to each other, and a lot of that comes from people using the first images they find on Pinterest. So if you truly want to be creative and make builds that stand out, I would highly suggest using Airbnb instead. It's a lot easier to find original and interesting builds that stand out here, and also, as you can see, the pictures tend to be of great quality compared to a lot of what you see on Pinterest. It's really easy to navigate, and just from being on the home page here, I have mansions selected, and if I scroll down here, you can just tell there are so many different and just beautiful builds here that you can find inspiration from. And then once you've actually clicked an image, you also get all of these different images of the same build so that you can see it from different angles. So then you can just search up a destination. Let's say we're going to Ireland. I'm just gonna click flexible and then search. And then you see we get all these amazing images that are based in Ireland, and there are just endless options really. So I would really suggest you try it out, and please let me know if you find it better or worse than using Pinterest. So my next tip here is to map out an area of the zoo with the paint tool. And it can be really useful to color code it. So let's say you do soil for pathing, and then maybe you do sand where you want a water area to be. And then you could do rock for mountains. And then by doing this and just drawing without thinking, you get this very vague idea of what you can do with your zoo. It can really help you to just find a place to start. So of course you're not going to be happy with everything you did here, probably. I know I'm not, and I would change up a lot of things here. But the point is that it's a start, and sometimes that's really all you need in order to get the creativity flowing. And it will also help you avoid that very stiff and squared look, unless that's what you're going for, of course, like discovering these new shapes and allowing yourself to make things that are not symmetrical, that are not perfect. That can be a great tool because it kind of forces you to think outside of the box, like you have to think a little bit different. The next step is terraforming. Just do it. Don't think, don't really plan too much. Do what I did here and then just see what comes out of it. Like I had no plans, I had no idea where I wanted to have anything. Other than that, I mapped out the area and sort of painted on where the mountains could potentially go and where the water would go. And then by just starting the terraforming and just doing it, not really thinking at all, I find that doing stuff like this will usually go a lot smoother if you don't already have a plan, because then you have a lot more freedom and you don't have any expectations of what the end result is going to be like, and that just gives room for so much creativity. And once you start seeing that things are starting to take shape, a lot of the time you will find that creative ideas will start to just sort of come to you. As you can see here, this is already making a huge difference in how the zoo is appearing. Like when I see my mountains here and I see my water here, it gives me a much clearer idea of how I can continue with my zoo. Like for instance, I have this little mountain here that will work perfect as a barrier for a habitat inside here, and I have a river here that can also work as a natural barrier if I just do it right. So without having planned for it, I already can tell that this area has a lot of potential to be a great habitat. So for my next step, it's just really simple and easy, but every time you're outside, notice your surroundings. Take a look at the building next to you. Look at how the plants are growing on the ground beneath you. And take pictures. When you see something you like, take pictures of it. Notice how the tree and the bushes and how all the different plants interact and grow with each other. Just take pictures of it and look at it the next time you open up Planet Zoo, because one of your best sources to inspiration is right outside your door. For our next step, it's really not that different from the last one, but take advantage of the Google Maps Street View option. We're gonna go with Ireland again. Let's go to Limerick, and then I'll just find a street here. click on Street View, and then we're in this lovely neighborhood. We're just gonna take a digital walk around and look through some nice neighborhoods, see how people are building things and connecting things through different parts of the world. Notice how the houses and buildings are connected, how the plants and environment interact with one another, how the roads and paths are set up. Like, you can literally go all over the world with this one, so be sure to test it out. Find your favorite neighborhood and just imagine what it would take to recreate that in Planet Zoo. So my next tip is to narrow down your options and just really get familiar with the pieces. Let's take this one. So just pick one item that you're gonna focus on, and you're gonna come up with as many possible ways this one item could be used that you can possibly think of. It's just a basic palm. If you sink it down into the ground, it can be a small tree. That could be nice. And it could even be just a simple patch of grass like that. Or it could be a bush like this. You have all these different options just from a simple palm tree. What if I turn it upside down? Then you suddenly have this very interesting shape. So then you could get creative with this side of the tree. Like, maybe this could work as a natural barrier, maybe like a fence or something like that. Maybe it just looks cool. Like, it's so interesting for sure how many different things you can make with just these simple items. Like, doesn't this structure look kind of cool? I think it does. And this is all made out of just using this one tree. I think that's insane, and that makes me feel creative because you can do so many different things with just a single item. So my next tip, use your real life interests. So what are your interests in real life right now? Are there any hobbies you have, or themes or TV shows that just really mean a lot to you? Maybe you love the new Barbie movie. Well, okay, then try making a Barbie inspired build. Do you love football? Do you love swimming? Maybe you have a favorite band and they're actually having a concert in your very soon, next Saturday. You have to build a concert stage for them. Do that. Start with that. Make it pretty. Because if you don't genuinely love what you're doing, you'll never be happy with the result, and you won't find the creativity you need because you're not really finding any real life value in it. It makes it a lot easier to enjoy the process and just have fun, because this is something you know. And I'm not necessarily talking about just sticking a random football field on your zoo. I'm not saying that will solve your problems, but it's a great way to just sort of focus your attention on something that you already know, already love, and you can't really go wrong with it. So once you've placed down your football field, then you can kind of start to shape other things around it. There's always a way to implement these sort of things. And that brings us over to the next step, which is dissect Steam workshop builds. Because maybe you feel like, yeah, I do want to build a Barbie house, or I do want to build a concert stage for my favorite band, but I just have no idea where to start. Well, most of the time it's very likely that other people have already had the same ideas you have and have actually made something out of that idea. So a great tip then is to go to the Steam workshop, search up the idea you have. Like, as you can see, people have already made football fields before you, and that makes it so easy for you to just download this into your own zoo, place it down, and check out what pieces are used. You're not going to copy it, you're not going to use the blueprint, because that's not really how you stay creative. You're just gonna figure out how other people have managed to make the kind of stuff that you want to make. As you see, there are other Barbie fans out there. People have made Barbie houses. It's not a lot, but there's still something to take inspiration from and to dissect and figure out. And for my final tip here, I just want you to keep in mind what aspects of the game you truly enjoy. Like, do you love the terraforming? Do you love making beautiful and realistic mountains and lakes and stuff like that? Or do you enjoy making good habitats for the animals? Do you care about the animal welfare, stuff like that? Maybe you prefer the architectural side, where you just want to make big fancy buildings. And start with that. Just keep it simple and know your limitations. If you love terraforming, then start with the mountains, start with the lakes, map out everything like I did previously. If you love making habitats, make a beautiful habitat first and then adjust the terraforming around that and the rest of the builds and stuff. So that's my best tips for how to stay creative in Planet Zoo. I hope you got something useful out of this video. Please don't forget to leave a like, comment and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. I post tutorials every Tuesday and gameplay every Friday, so make sure you stick around for that. I'll see you in my next video.